This video is brought to you by my generous backers over on Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel and get cool perks like access to the Discord, seeing the videos a week before anyone else, or an entire video dedication, then feel free to check out my Patreon. The link's in the description below. This video is dedicated to Outlaw. Outlaw, thank you for supporting the EDH channel. Edgar Markov versus Omnath, Locus of Rage, Gallia of the Endless Dance, and Kumena, Tyrant of Orazca. And as usual with this deck, we can't get into the colours we need, so we'll definitely mulligan that one. Alright, that's better. It's not incredible, but we've got something to do in the mid-game at least. Turn 1 plays from Gallia in Ornithopter, and the Heart's Desire. That throws out a human token. And then Burgeoning for Omnath. So, pretty boring turn for us. We just start off with Path of Ancestry. And trigger that Burgeoning for the first time. Kumena just getting down a land, and Burgeoning continue to trigger. Valdreig's already up to 3 lands in play. We've got Mooney with the Kumena list. Also running Merfolk Tribal, I imagine, with Kumena. Go-Go Batman is on Gallia of the Endless Dance, saw a really good version of this in a budget game not long ago. I don't know if it was Go-Go's list, actually. Anyway, they get down Kari Zev, which is a good means of triggering their commander. And then we've got Valdreig, who is on Omnath, Locus of Rage. Asked for a faster game this time because I've played a few blue games. The patrons tend to bring blue lists to the table, and those games tend to take longer, so hopefully we get a fast one going today. Seething Pathblazer. You sacrifice an elemental and it gets +2 to its power and first strike, so a sack outlet for these 5/5 elementals. Unclaimed Territory. That one comes in untapped, so do we have to worry about... Surely we don't have to worry about Blood Moon, do we? We'll play around Blood Moon just for the fun of it. Let's go for the Swamp into Vampire of Dire Moon. We get a Scry out of that, and it obviously triggers the Edgar Markov as well. I was just going to say, if we could get into a 3-mana creature, that would be alright, but Legion Lieutenant will do nicely. We'll put that back on top, and that sets us up for probably Elenda the Dusk Rose. The first commander of the game coming down, Kumena for Mooney. And Gallia hitting the field straight after Kumena, and no doubt they're going to swing in with everything. Kari Zev goes in at Val. The human is coming in at us. We'll just take 1 from the human. And then they swing in at us with the Gallia as well. So do we want to block with the vampire? To be honest, I think I'd rather keep as many vampires in play as possible, ready for the Champion of Dusk. We're a ways away from that, but... yeah, I think I'd rather do that. Randomly discarding a Goblin Instigator and then playing out a Findhorn Elves before going over to Val's turn. They throw down, Rite of Raging Storm. That's a means of us all dealing damage to each other and doing Valdreig's work for him. Do we have to attack with the 5/1s? At the beginning of the end step you sacrifice it. No, we don't have to attack, but we might as well. So we get into the Legion Lieutenant. Let's go for another Scry. And a Scrubland on top. Oh, do we care about a Scrubland? I don't think I do. We'll put that on the bottom. And we'll play the Unclaimed Territory. Naming Vampire in the Vampire deck. And then we will swing in at... yeah, we'll swing in at Go-Go with both of these. Now the Lightning Rager from Mooney coming in at us. Not going to block that. And they've gotten down a Path of Discovery as well. Now we're getting another Lightning Rager coming in at us. And Gallia going in at Val. Kari Zev going in at Mooney. And the Monkey is going in at Valdreig as well. I think we just take another hit for 5. like I said, I want to try and work my way up to this Champion of Dusk. Now they have a Hazoret the Fervent as well. I think this was the list that we played in budget the other day. I don't know if it actually is a budget list or not though. And they discarded a Forest at random to their commander. And now Valdrieg, of course, getting their own Lightning Rager, and that one goes in at Mooney. And now it's a War Elemental. Sacrifice it unless an opponent was dealt damage this turn. Whenever an opponent is dealt damage, put that many plus counters on this. That's going to be a lot of damage flying around with these 5/1 elementals. Alright, we're getting to another land, so we're definitely going to be able to cast the Champion of Dusk. I think I want to go in for Elenda the Dusk Rose to try and claw back some life eventually. Do the tokens have lifelink? Yes, they do. So we'll get her down, trigger the Edgar Markov, and get ourselves into a scry off of the Path of Ancestry. Another land on top, certainly don't want to see that. And we'll just send the 5/1 in at go-go in the hope that they just block it. Yeah, they might just block it with the human. I'm not wanting any damage to go through, to be honest, but if I can get rid of one of their permanents, then that's good. And we do get rid of one of their permanents. Oh. It has trample. Okay, well I wouldn't have swung in if I'd remembered that it has trample. A couple of creatures die there, so we buff our Elenda. Path of Discovery does trigger off of tokens entering, unlike most other permanents, so there might be a plus counter on there. So they end up getting into a Temple of Mystery from the Path of Discovery. Decided not to swing in with the Lightning Rager. We would have blocked with a Vampire had they have come in at us. Because I don't want to lose too much life to the Champion of Dusk. But one of those creatures goes down anyway because they have to sacrifice it at the end of the turn, so Elenda goes up again. Fanatical Firebrand has haste, and you can tap it and sacrifice it. It deals 1 damage to any target. We're not really worried about that, thanks to our Lord. Now, Hazoret going in at Valdrieg, the token coming in at us, and the Karizev is going in at Mooney. Then the monkey comes down and goes in at Valdrieg as well. I think we're going to try and stem the bleeding a little bit, and it means we draw 1 less card next turn, but we also take less life, so I don't mind that. A lot of counters are going to be going on this thing. Few creatures die there. So Elenda jumping up to a 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Yeah, there we go, an 8, 8. And it's equal to her power, so the buff from the Lord does count towards her, even though she's only got 6 plus counters. We'll actually get 8 tokens from her when she gets sacrificed, or there's a board wipe of some kind. Can't be blocked except by creatures with flying, that is the Treetop Scout. Only 1 card in Go-Go's hand now. They did get rid of the Scrib Ranger. And finally getting rid of that Love-Struck Beast, so we don't have to have that ugly window floating around. Now we're probably going to see Omnath come down this turn, which is not good news. Yep, there he is. And this thing is going to get sacrificed, so that will be at least 1 Lightning Bolt. And it means that they can freely put a lot of plus counters on the War Elemental. Just coming in and going towards Go-Go with the 5/1 Trample and Haste. We get another counter on Elenda, but it's this Lightning Bolt I'm thinking of. Okay, going on to the Karizev. Can be difficult to block with that first strike. Alright, just another land for us, but it's one that we don't have to put pain into, unlike the City of Brass, so we'll play that one and go for this Champion of Dusk. Oh, Adrana is really good, but we don't have anywhere near as much mana as we would like to make her of any relevance, so as much as it pains me, I'm going to put her on the bottom. And there we go, getting into a bunch of stuff. I like the Vampire Nighthawk, the Fervor will come in handy. Changeling Outcast isn't terrible. Let's try and regain some life. We'll go in at Go-Go just in an attempt to get them to chump block again. Just doing this for the life gain. They decide to block with the Fanatic. Then tap it in response. Oh, I thought that had Summoning Sickness. Oh, of course it has haste, so it can't have Summoning Sickness. Oh, and we don't gain the life either. Yeah, I thought that had summoning sickness, that's why I swung in there. Oh well. Don't think we really had a particularly good attack there. Could have gone in at Mooney, I suppose, and they could have taken it. Yeah, not gaining the life there hurts. At the end of the turn, Mooney has a stunt double come down. And you would think this would come in as Omnath, but no, they're looking to gain some life themselves with an Elender of their own. Then we'll get rid of City of Brass, the Vista, and the Plateau in the hope that we get into more lands as the game goes on. This time revealing a Mana Crypt off of the Path of Discovery. So that'll go back on top of their deck. They'll draw it during the draw phase and it'll put a plus counter on the Rager. Then a Kindred Discovery from the Merfolk player with 2 mana held up, so chances are they might be able to get into a Merfolk. And then still continuing to come in at us. That is a 6-2 with Trample and Haste. This doesn't have flying, does it? Yeah, I don't really care about keeping that around, so we'll just take 1. Swinging in with a bunch of stuff now, discarding a Birds of Paradise, which was the only card in their hand. And Hazaret coming in at us. The Unblockable Treetop Scout going in at Valdrieg. We have also got a Lovestruck Beast. That's a 5-5 without any evasion. And the 5-1 with Trample going in at Mooney. Yeah, Edgar Markov does tend to get a lot of hate, I've found. So let's block with a couple of tokens. There's no evasion or trample or anything, nope. So we'll just leave it like that. Following things up with Ferocity of the Wilds, attacking non-human creatures you control, get +1 to their power and have trample. So I'm glad they didn't play that before combat this time. Zendikar Incarnate now, from the Elementals player. Power equal to the number of lands you control. So there's a 7-4 along with a 5-5. This has jumped up to a 21-21. Doesn't have trample, luckily. Valdrieg attacking very cautiously, just going in with the 5-1 at go-go. And now there's another lightning bolt to worry about from Omnath. Yeah, I missed that. That went on the Findhorn Elves. Didn't go on Gallia, surprisingly. Alright, we've got a Shizo. Makes a target legendary creature gain fear. So we could definitely get through with a Lender using the Shizo. But I don't think we have enough mana this turn because I want to go for Falconwrath Aristocrat. So let's go Command Tower, Scry and a token. Bedevil. Yeah, I don't hate Bedevil. Let's leave Bedevil on top. And hopefully the Falconwrath Aristocrat lands because it is a sack outlet, so we can make a bunch of life-linking creatures if we want to. And I think this time we go in at Mooney. Go in at Valdrieg in the air. And let's just leave the Lightning Rager back. Actually, we'll go in at... Yeah, we'll go in at go-go with that. So it's go-go, Valdrieg, and Mooney. And hopefully the lifelink actually sticks this time. They decide to block our Elender with their own. So they're going to get a bunch of vampires into play. Luckily there's no doubling season or parallel lives in play. Alright, heroic intervention. Yeah, we still gain the life. So not too worried about that. We could go for swords onto this if we were desperate to get rid of it. And I think it's a death trigger, isn't it? Yeah, whenever it dies, not when it leaves play. War Elemental continuing to trigger over there, and we might have to put swords on that. I'm thinking we go for Sorin onto the Omnath Locus of Rage at the moment, but I'm very wary of the fact that they've got a sack outlet in play. Anyway, let's go for Changeling Outcast. We jump up to 34, so that's a much more comfortable life total. And we'll hold up this Swords to Plowshares. Oh, a Great Henge coming down now. And Aquitect's Will put a flood counter on a target land. They revealed that off of the Path of Ancestry, but I can't see a land with a flood counter on it, so I don't know how that hit the bin. Yeah, it says that they revealed it, but it doesn't say anything about it being cast or going into the bin. Yeah, so apologies, not sure what happened with this. Surge Spanner coming down now. Whenever it becomes tapped, you can pay 2 and bounce a permanent to its owner's hand. think I would point that towards the War Elemental, personally. Because we can sacrifice this in response, and I will do it. Now revealing Simic Ascendancy off the top with the enchantment. So they'll get that into their hand with the Great Henge. Oh, actually, they'll get it into their hand with the Kindred Discovery, and then draw a new card with the Henge. The Simic Ascendancy comes down. They can put a plus counter on something for 3 mana, but the main thing is when it has 20 or more growth counters, you win the game. And it can get the growth counters via any means of a +1/+1 counter going on something. Probably why they took the Elender. And continuing to come in at us with the Elemental. I think we are safe to just take it. So like I said, at the end of the turn when the Elemental got sacrificed, a counter went onto the Elender. And therefore put a growth counter on this. Alright, seems as though there's a combat phase passing by here where we're not getting attacked. Ornithopter in at the Elementals, the Treetop in at the Elementals, and then the 5/1 token going in at the Merfolk. But the Elemental going in at the Merfolk is going to allow Elender to block, which will gain them a bunch of life. Multani coming down now, that's a scary one. They don't have the mana to bounce a land and play it, thankfully. We haven't actually seen any elemental tokens come down since Omnath hit the field. I'm just wondering now if it's worth sacrificing the Elender, getting a bunch of vampires into play, and then playing our commander next turn, and getting a bunch of plus counters on stuff. So in that case, we want the lifelink removed from here, don't we? And then we'll have to get through for a bunch of damage, which we should be able to do, going wide there. We'll sacrifice a vampire just to make sure that our Falconwrath Aristocrat is indestructible, because I'm worried about the sack outlet and the Omnath. Okay, so that's definitely indestructible. Let's go for Swords to Plowshares onto this thing. Just so it doesn't keep putting counters on that and keep gaining them life. They're going to gain 14 here, but they're going to keep gaining 14 the more they swing into it or be swung into. And I'd just like to move the game along a little bit, I think. So jumping up to 64. And then a lightning bolt can go somewhere. Okay, it goes at the Changeling Outcast, so we can sacrifice that. And I'm going to sacrifice all the tokens because they'll pretty much just be replaced by lifelink tokens when the Elender dies. So we should get, 27 lifelinking creatures ready to swing in with our Edgar Markov next turn. Now, who do we take out? It's Valdrieg I've had my eye on, but I think it's unwise to leave a blue player with a bunch of card draw on the field. Yeah, I think it's unwise to leave them alone. So I think we get rid of the Simic player. Bunch of vampires come down, and then we begin our turn. Just going to go straight in for our commander. We get into the Bedevil that we already knew about. Let's get down Shizo. Play our commander. A Vampire Interloper on top that can't block. I think we can do better than that, so I'll put that on the bottom. Not terrible having an evasive vampire. Could even have played it with Fervour, but we've got the Nighthawk for a flyer. Now then, if we swing in Edgar Markov over here, they can block like that. Or they could double block with Gallia and this thing. This puts a counter on itself, I think. Yeah, on each vampire you control. Oh, it has first strike. Alright, I'm glad I looked now. So Edgar Markov goes in over here. And then I think pretty much all the tokens go in at Mooney. They've just got way too much time to respond with 64 life. Card draw in play. And a bunch of mana. Alright, but they can... completely forgetting about the fact that Kumena can tap the Surge Spanner. Therefore triggering the 2 mana ability. Alright, well, we're still turning everything sideways in at them. At least we're not paying command attacks. So in that case, probably not taking out Mooney. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Wish I'd seen that little interaction there. Not often you play against Kumena. We'll send everything in at Mooney, leave back We'll leave back what could be an indestructible, our Lord and the Death Touch. And we'll see how far down we can get their life total. Blocking the Lightning Elemental with their commander. I don't think they go down here. That's 20, 2, 4, 54 I think. Yeah, they're still alive. 55 damage if this tramples through. Alright, now Multani is being sacrificed. Why on earth would you Lightning Bolt the Lord? You wait for us to deal all the damage, surely. Why are you trying to keep a blue player in play? Okay, well anyway, Valdrieg has gone for sacrificing the Multani. They'll be able to get that out of the bin next turn and bounce some lands in order to trigger their Omnath. So even if we'd gone in at them, they could have done that in response anyway. We might as well sacrifice the Lord, so yeah. Very strange one that to me. I think you would allow the Simic player to be knocked out or close to it before you go doing things like that. So now it is 38 damage going through. 28 damage going through, so what would that have been? That would have been 56 damage that would have been going through, so they would have stayed alive. They're probably just going down to their starting life total near enough. Bunch of damage being done, which puts a bunch of counters on the War Elemental. Oh, and the game's crashed. How infuriating is that? Oh, one day I will get an Edgar Markov game. Oh, jeez. So it looks as though this is going to be some bonus content for you all. I'll have to put a warning up at the beginning of the game to let you all know that this isn't a very satisfying conclusion. Yeah, that game was due to go on for a lot longer, thanks to the destroying of our Lord. Yeah, really not sure about that one. Perhaps Valdrieg can come into the comments section and explain his thinking behind that. But yeah, I dare say it's crashed because of all the tokens we had. That's probably what did it. But yeah, that's really annoying. We'll have to try again, getting an Edgar Markov game in. Hopefully you all got some enjoyment from it anyway, and hopefully you heeded the warning that I'm going to put at the beginning of this video. Real shame that one, because it was an interesting game. Anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.